Mr. Secretary, let me ask you about China and related topics. Last few months ago, I was in the Philippines, and President Aquino was very concerned about the Chinese claims on the South China Sea, that they were, in his judgment, violating international laws and norms in controlling that very vital shipping lane for the world's commerce. What can you tell us about the South China Sea and China's apparent efforts to control it to everyone else's exclusion?
Well, I am well aware of the issue with the island dispute. As you know, China has an island dispute not only with the Filipinos, but with Vietnam as well, and other nations, and Japan. And that's one of the reasons that 2 years ago the President made a decision in his defense strategic guidance is to rebalance our priorities to Asia and the Pacific. We have been a Pacific power. We will continue to be a Pacific power. We need to be a Pacific power, if for no other reason than the issue you identified, the sea lanes. We still are the most significant Navy in the Pacific. We will continue to be. We need to be. Much of the budget focus that we put on, as the Chairman noticed, into prioritizing our resources is to assure that rebalancing is not eroded. We have allies there. We have relationships there. It's clearly in our interest that those sea lanes remain open, and we'll continue to protect, along with our allies, those sea lanes.
Well, 80%, I'm told, of the world commerce travels through the straits and the South China Sea, and if China decides to control that shipping lane, it would have tremendous impact all around the world. But with countries like Japan and all the others in that region, it would be devastating. Are we prepared to keep those lanes open?
We are prepared. You're specifically referring to the Straits of Malacca, which, in fact, I was just there in August, and you identify it correctly. I think in response to anticipated threats and challenges, as you know, have made new arrangements in Singapore with a rotation of our littoral ships in and out of that area. We have moved, as a result of shifting marine capacity off of Okinawa to Guam, but more importantly to northern Australia. We're working very closely with our allies in this area, and obviously much is predicated on assuring those sea lanes remain open.
And let me close, Mr. Chairman, by asking briefly about cybersecurity. Most people have concluded that that many of the attacks on our systems in this country are coming from China and are state-sponsored. But this is the new warfare of the future. And do you feel we are prepared to defend ourselves from these attacks? And what can you tell us about our preparedness?
Well, cyber is one of the areas in this budget where we have proposed increases, considerable increases, more people, more capacity. You also know that we have an interagency dimension to this. The Department of Homeland Security has most of the domestic authority. We, too, have authority to protect our interest. NSA, Cyber Command are the two main areas of expertise and responsibility. You have, I think, correctly identified the greatest threat to our security, economic security, political security, diplomatic security, military security that confronts us, not to minimize other threats. We are prepared and are preparing and strengthening that capacity to deal with these issues. We do know that these attacks are coming from 2 or 3 countries. We are dealing with China, talking to China about this. The chairman is going to be in China, which he will, I'm sure, respond to this or any other area that you want to talk about. Specifically, though, on cyber, and when he is there in China, we'll address this issue. It is a serious issue, and we are talking to the Chinese about it. But overall, the cyber threat is a very real threat to this country.
It is, and it's going to get worse. And I think we have to take action with China to stop the PLA from bombarding us hourly with these hack attacks. They've stolen all sorts of weaponry from us and research, even the F-35. And I would hope that the department would be much more aggressive on the cybersecurity front. Mr. Chairman, thank you.